Hello everybody, how's it going? It's me, Crendor, and welcome back to another Almost Too Old for This, the channel where I react to Jesse Cox, who's too old for this channel, where he reacts to content for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Today, I'm wearing my green shirt again with my green screen, so I'm warping into the video itself. But we have Jesse reacting to CdawgVAs YouTube tips, too old for a YouTube career. I mean, I don't think we're too old for a YouTube career. We've done this for nearly 20 years apiece. I've been doing this since 2009. So, I don't know. I'm definitely not too old for it, but I'm curious to see what these YouTube tips are, and let's just jump right into it. We've already had that one video
and this time
that talked about YouTube tips.
That was submitted, I think, because in the past we've talked about what it takes to make it on YouTube or Twitch or anywhere on social media. And I was asked to check this one out because I think it really targets a younger audience just based on who the influencer,
maybe it's not for me then,
etc., whatever you want to call them, is in this scenario. And so we're going to check it out and we're going to learn what's going on with starting from scratch in the year 2026.
All right. I mean, I already know quite a bit because I do YouTube for a living, as well as other things, but you know.
So this video is called The Crucial Choice.
Again, before we start, let me remind you, TB back in the day always told me it have at least 4 sources of income, or 5 sources. It was 4 or 5 sources of income. It was probably 5 knowing TB. And so, I mean, I have Twitch, I have YouTube, but I also have sponsorships, Patreon, podcasts, like, you know, podcast sponsorships kind of go hand in hand a little bit, but there's like affiliate things. There's a bunch of little things that also add up. So, I mean, merchandise. You never really want to be one thing where people are like, I'm a streamer, or like, I'm a YouTuber. It's more like you are an online content creator or non-content creator. Anyway, carry on.
Choices you need to make to kickstart your YouTube career. It's on Connor Clips, which I guess is CdawgVA, which I'll be honest, I do not know much about, other than I see him do stuff with Iron Mouse from time to time. I know he does a...
Yeah, I don't really know much about him either, but I've heard his name, so I know of him.
Bike ride charity thing that I see pop up. Other than that, like, I don't know if CdawgVA means voice actor. I literally don't know. I know it is a podcast too, but it's anime and I don't give a shit about anime, so it's not my but I hear only good things, and so I'm assuming we're going to get his perspective on how to grow, or how to at least become and start YouTube. I do think it's funny though that this is clearly being streamed on Twitch, which I think says a lot about the ecosystem at the moment, that I'm gonna give you advice on YouTube while on Twitch, which is very funny to me.
It is a very common thing now where I think Ludwig even talked about it, where you stream the thing and then you break your stream up into YouTube clips or short videos or whatever it might be, and then you break those up into shorts. So you're essentially doing Twitch and then breaking it up into content for all the different platforms, which to me, like, it works if you're already big, but if you're not already big, then it's, well, pretty much everything's harder if you're not big already. But I've learned, as somebody who's done live streaming for like nearly like 15 years and YouTube for like 17 years, I prefer to have them separate. I prefer to be YouTube is like, here's my WoW channel. This is where I do WoW stuff. This is my VODs channel. This is where I put my VODs. This is this channel. This is where I do this, right? And I like that categorization, which YouTube actually rewards more than it used to now. And so I like having Twitch as just my thing where I just, you know, chill, variety, hang out, chat with chat, and that type of thing. And then YouTube is much more of my like structured, like I'm making a WoW video that's like specifically for YouTube. It has nothing to do with my Twitch. So it kind of depends what you're doing and what you're trying to do. If you're trying to just be like, I'm a person on the internet, then sure, you can do a stream and break that stream down, because your YouTube channel is essentially just another way of monetizing or getting viewership towards yourself, right? But if you're not trying to do that, it all just depends what you're trying to do, is I guess what it's boiling down to. Anyway, I'm about to give a course on YouTubing.
All right, let's jump in.
That's the story of my first video, and I want to now explain a bit of the beginning.
Okay, so since this is a clip channel, so I'm going to assume that he gave a whole big, like, I have thoughts on this job thing And this is just part of it.
Of those, and some of the choices that I made along the way that were really crucial to ensuring that I started off with a bit of success, right? First of all,
Okay, before we jump into it, I know that I'm old because
The
I
chat?
realize the side text thing is not only
Yeah.
a popular choice for streamers, but also fans love it. Seeing their name up there, seeing their responses on
Yeah,
the
I
screen.
hate that.
I hate it.
I hate
It
it too.
distracts me so much. I don't think it adds anything to
Plus, like the chat just going a million miles an hour, being like blah 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 blah. Like it's just like, dude, calm down. All right, like that. I can't stand that.
the actual video if you're not there at the time. Because I consider VODs part of what I do, I always think ahead of, well, this is gonna be a VOD, and if you weren't there, would you wanna just see people spam text? Maybe, I don't know, but I hate it. I would
Yeah.
much rather just watch the thing I'm there to watch and not see, you know, a fifth of the screen taken up by real estate that is just a wall of text of people spamming emotes and stuff. It doesn't do it for me. But I realize that's because I'm in my 40s and I'm like, it's distracting is what it is. All right, let's continue.
I realized.
Honestly, yeah, like to me, it's too much. Seeing it there, it's just like multiple things on the screen happening. I'm just like, just show me the game. I don't care if the person playing the game is talking to chat and I don't really have context for what's going on. Like whatever, like it doesn't bother me.
Okay, up here. My mic was bad. Now I could try and brute force it with that microphone, with that crappy headset, but $40 at the time was within reach of me to be able to get a new microphone. And so I decided that was the single biggest financial investment I could make.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. That is absolutely the number one thing. Don't worry about your computer. Don't worry about your graphics cards. Don't worry about, you know, cameras. Don't worry about your lighting. Literally just get a good microphone. The amount of stuff you can do with a good microphone, be it with clip-on or a Yeti. I mean, like, it doesn't have to be
Especially nowadays, there's so many good microphones. Like back in the day, it was like it was rough to find a good microphone, and even then, some of the better ones were expensive or just annoying to deal with. Like nowadays, there's just so many options. But like, there's still the industry standard of like SMB7, which I tried and I didn't really like. And then I'm using the RE20, which is what TB used to use. And I was like, dude, I love that one. And he was like, yes, it is good. It's what they used for radio. And so I was just like, oh, okay. And I guess it also has more of like a bassier thing about it, which suits my voice better, I think. So that's what I use.
a several $100 microphone. There's a lot of microphones
But
out
I used to use a blue snowball or a blue snowflake. It was like a really tiny blue microphone. Then I graduated to the blue Yeti, and then I might have had another one in there. I don't think I did. And then I think I went to the RE20.
out there. And a lot of people, most of their streaming setup or their YouTube setup or whatever, because most people aren't doing gaming now, is literally just their phone, and then they connect it,
Yeah.
you know, some microphone to it in some way, and they use that. The amount of people who are on YouTube right now whose whole thing is phone plus microphone and that's it, and then maybe they'll get some fun lighting, is very high, and those
Yeah.
people can be successful. So yes, microphone's important, mostly because a lot of people just put you on the background. Or
Yeah.
if you have that sort of, I'm not talking like this, you don't realize how important it is. Like, this sucks, this is terrible. That's why I completely agree with this. Bad mic is a terrible thing. Get rid of it.
Absolutely.
If you have,
I mean, you get to the point, especially if this is your job, which, you know, for us it is. If I hear like even slightly bad audio, like sometimes I get ear interference on my microphone. Like something will get messed up. Maybe it's lightning outside, mess things up. Like maybe the wires are too close together. But there's been times I record something and then I hear it and it's just like there's a slight like really, really slight, to the point where I'm like, does everyone else hear this? And some people are like, I don't hear it. But like I'm just like, that bothers me. And that's kind of how I am. I have my non-content stuff where I'm just like, I'll draw Microsoft Paint, I'll do whatever. I don't, you know, I'll kind of like edit this, like half-ass, throw it together, but then I'll hear something like that and I'm like, it's wrong. Or like there's something wrong. Like there's a lot of little things that'll bother me in that way. Anyway.
an amazing setup and your sound quality sucks, your stream sucks or your YouTube sucks.
At the time, I realized that mic That $40 thing was the
There are
difference between this
exceptions to that, though. Like Tyler One screams into his headset. It depends. It also depends on the person.
looking like slop and being very good, right? So that was something that I saved up for and bought. Editing was very bad. In fact, I wouldn't even say bad. I didn't even know how to edit. So I needed to learn. And I literally just, every single effect or edit that I wanted to do, I pulled up a YouTube guide on like another tab, and I would constantly just go between, okay, I need to do this, do this.
I know a lot of people think, oh, I need to go to a school or do whatever to learn to edit. There are so many free videos that will teach you how to do a thing. You just have to have the desire to go learn it. You just have to have the ability to say, well, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna put it up on one screen and I'm gonna be on this screen. I'm just gonna one step at a time this damn thing and figure it out. And through repetition, you'll get it. That's how I learned to do it way back in the day. And I learned on Windows Movie Maker, y'all. Windows Movie Maker.
Hey, I did too.
I'm using Adobe Premiere.
And then I graduated to Sony Vegas. And Sony Vegas is like outdated now. Not a lot of people use it. But like I've used it so much and I love the interface that like it's the only thing I enjoy using. So I still just use Sony Vegas. Like I don't even care. It's just like once you learn to edit on something and, you know, everything else out there is like, oh, I've tried Premiere. I don't really like the interface of Premiere. I've tried a couple other ones. I go back to Sony Vegas. I like the UI. And I know how things work. And that's really half the battle.
And I'll be honest, it's much more confusing. But what I'm trying to say is that you got to learn, you got to start somewhere. And then once you're successful enough, you can pay others to edit. Hey, Mari. Because editing is not fun or glamorous, but it's something you have to do. You have to do it. There's so many tips and tricks.
I honestly don't even mind editing. I think it's more fun when I edit it and like, you know that I edited my thing. You know what I mean? Like I make all the little cuts. I mess up. I do everything with the pacing. Like to me, pacing is really big. I'll spend a lot of times editing is just me making sure something flows correctly. Like when I'm doing pointless top 10, I'll be like 10, number 10. And then sometimes when I'm editing, it'll be like 10, number 10, 10, number 10. And I'm like, I have to get it correct. I have to be like 10, number 10. Like there has to be that perfect space between the two things. And those are the types of things like that I pay a lot of attention to, the little details, which you would think that I wouldn't based on my non-content and everything. But, it's very much that I'm very much a micro person and less of a macro person, I guess I would say.
And things like it isn't just where to cut or what effect to use, it's when to cut. How much do you cut out? Where do you start? Where do you end? What's the pacing of the video? There's so many different ways to
definitely
approach
the most
editing.
important.
And I think a lot of people just
one of
think
the most
like,
important,
oh, cut this and this and make this thing. And no, you're telling a story. Every video is a story, whether you like it or not. You're presenting yourself and you're telling this. In this case, this video is my journey through this Connor clip and the interaction I'm having with it and with you. That's what it is.
It is crucial.
I also hate when people edit too quickly, which I think a lot of like Zoomer, not even Zoom, but like Gen Alpha, like they'll just be like, here's the thing I do. I'm going to do this. And there's no time to breathe. It's like you need pauses. You need time to just breathe. Like imagine if a real person was talking like that. You'd be like, slow down. You know what I mean? Some people just hyper edit and it's like, what are you doing? Like I can't stand when it's stuff like that. But I guess that's why it's not for people like me that are older. But yeah, it's I agree. It's about telling a story. It's also about getting the attention. You can borrow some of those tips that hook people in, right? Like I used to always be like, hey everybody. I mean I still do it on these, but I know a lot of the people watching this are gonna watch it no matter what I say for the most part. Where I'm like, welcome back to another video on the channel, blah blah. But on my main channel, where over 50% of the people watching my videos on my WoW channel are not subscribed. So you're going to get random people that don't even know who you are watching you. That's when I don't do the intros anymore. I just go like, today I made a tier list about this thing, right? Boom, you're in. It's kind of like when you write a book and you want to get the hook line in. And a lot of YouTubers do that. That's one of the things that I actually added to my YouTube repertoire, whatever you want to call it. Just being like, today, or I'm going to be ranking this thing, blah, blah. But I still do my pointless top 10 intro because that's just like a staple of the series. Like I can't just not give that up. So it depends, like you're balancing things. Like I understand that by doing my pointless top 10 intro, I'm losing some viewers, but at the same time, like, I don't care. You know what I mean? That's my trade-off. I enjoy doing it too much, and I think it's part of the series. So, yes.
Crucial that when you need to learn something, you just do it. Don't sit and about okay, I don't know, like if I can learn, or if I should learn before I film
That goes
the
for
video.
pretty much anything, honestly.
Do it. Like
writing.
The more that you sit around,
I do that with a lot.
Can I just say?
I do that with writing a lot.
Pan in edit is super fun because it's multi-tiered. That either is me saying you need to do it, and as it pans in, that could be it's focusing you. Like, just do it, I'm focusing you. Or it could be ironic because maybe he doesn't do that. Maybe he like this, the whole goof is like, nah, this guy always finds ways to procrastinate. Or it could be one of those, hey, are you procrastinating right now? Like, there's different layers to it that you could do, and that's why editing's fun.
I knew the extent of my abilities, right? Like when I was talking about the thumbnails, talking about the editing, right? I knew that I was shit at this. I was complete dog shit. And I didn't try to make a video, and I didn't try to make a thumbnail.
Everyone's dog shit in the beginning,
like, you have to be
no
really
matter what
introspective and understand your current abilities and where you're at, and figure out videos that you can make within that. You can't make a Ludwig video right away. You can't make, like, you know, let's say you're passionate about board games, like the board game.
I mean, it's literally anything in life. Literally anything. You're not going to be amazing when you first start. And if you are, that's a fluke, baby. And so you just practice and practice and practice and do and do and do. Hell, you might still be doing that and not hit the level of a Connor or a Ludwig or whoever. And you're just going to have to accept that shit. But if you love it, you will keep doing and doing and growing and growing. That's life, man. You
need to understand your immediate abilities and how to use those to your strengths and not let them hold you back, all right? Number 4, okay, I recognized that me as a creator, I have no pull when I start at 0.
Yes,
my name carries literally 0 weight. I have nothing to offer the world. So I leveraged the pre-existing popularity of Black Butler and a pre-existing fan base at the time to kind of get my way in the door, right? Because at the time on YouTube, anime was still obviously very, very popular, but there was nobody really making content for it outside of AMVs, abridges, and reviews. Those are the only type of anime content that existed. And so I decided to combine a different genre of YouTube with anime, which is something that I was passionate about at the time, right? And that was enough and novel enough to really keep the audience and the momentum going. So you need to think about this kind of stuff about like, if you are, you know, trying to do a genre that's already been done, or you're trying to do a style of content that's already been done, what can you bring to it?
I imagine it's much harder now because it feels like everything's been done, but I know that's not true. I see new things all the time on YouTube where I'm like, whoa, that's really creative. So yeah, you just have to have the passion to create something new and unique, but it's tough. Let's not pretend. It's just about finding your niche. And sometimes that'll be huge, and sometimes you just have a very loyal fan base. I mean, like back in the day, I used World of Warcraft. No one.
We both use World of Warcraft. I'm still using World of Warcraft. But like he's gonna talk about everything like you know that branched him off and everything else. But like to me, I remember starting in 2009, and I loved watching WoW machinimas back then. They were just a lot of fun, and people were just not making them anymore. And the people that I enjoyed making them just stopped making them. And they're like, I remember one of the WoW machinima people just being like, yeah, it's dead. And this was like, reminder, this was like peak Wrath of the Lich King. This was like the most people playing WoW in WoW's history. And they're like, yeah, I think it's dead. And I was like, I don't know. I think there's still some people who'd want to watch them. And I guess I was right, because I was like, you know what, I could probably do this. I'll give it a shot. And then, you know, I just went from there, and I was like, whoa, people do like this. And I just kept making videos. And sure, then it propelled me to doing other things like going onto the TGS podcast and making non-content and, you know, being more of myself and growing into my personality, I guess, and, you know, playing other games and variety. But people got to know me because of those WoW machinimas, right? And so now, fast forward, where, you know, I can kind of use that to my advantage, even where when I make YouTube shorts, I don't know if you'll talk about shorts, but like I have the advantage of I can make a short out of my old WoW machinimas. So I can essentially repurpose my old content and be like, hey, look at this. It's the same thing, but slightly edited, and it has captions on it now. And you can like scroll past it real quick and people go like, oh, I remember this guy. So I have like the power of nostalgia behind me to be like, yo, it's me. And you're like, I remember him from like 15 years ago. And it's like, hey, check me out now. I still do things, right? And so not everybody has that, but that's kind of why you just got to play into whatever you're doing. But moral of the story is, yeah, me and Jesse both use World of Warcraft to get to where we are today. In fact, TB did as well. TB, we used to do Blue Please and WoW Radio, and he covered the Cataclysm beta, and then, you know, he started doing StarCraft stuff and everything. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that actually got to where they are today because of WoW. I think even CdawgVAs was, like, starting with WoW and everything. So, yeah. I mean, WoW was very big back in the day. It still is, but it was at its peak, right?
Cared about me and what I thought. I used WoW to grow an audience. And WoW's still very popular, and a lot of people are still growing audiences off of it. Sometimes there is, you know, there's a magical horse like that you can strap your saddle to and ride it for 25 years.
I learned creative ways to...
I will also say, also, was that a...
Saddle to ride it for 25...
I see. I couldn't see myself. It's me playing WoW GeoGuessr, I see.
5 years.
The thing with me with WoW, another big point I want to make here is they talk about being like, well, find a game to just like grow with popularity. So a lot of people are going to be like, I'm going to pick the most popular games, or I'm going to pick these things or whatever, right? But the reason that I think a lot of people at least resonated with my content or things that Jesse or TB did was that they cared about the game. And now, obviously, Jesse doesn't play WoW anymore, but like my whole thing behind why I play WoW is I still love the world. I might not like the story, I might not like a lot of the decisions they've made or whatever, but I still love the world. I love the art and the music, and so the videos that I make are created around just experiencing that world or reliving the world or going back and looking for stuff that we might have missed or forgotten about. And that's kind of the whole thing. And so it's like, I'm not just doing this because I'm like, oh, it's going to get the big bucks and the big... It's like I genuinely enjoy World of Warcraft and the videos that I make. And I think that's a big part of it as well, is you can tell when somebody actually cares about what they're doing and the videos that they're making, even if they're doing it for their job or money, versus somebody that's like clearly doing it only for the money and they would do something else if they could. You know what I mean? So, and I started like that and I'm still doing that, right? So, yeah.
I learned creative ways to promote my content. Now, obviously, I gave you some strategies that would have worked 11 years ago if you happen to do a mean Sebastian impression. But nowadays, you know, the game has changed. You know, TikTok, Instagram, whatever platform is in the future, you will need to get creative with how you promote your video.
You need to be everywhere. You will not grow on Twitch, especially on Twitch, without being elsewhere. It's nice to be on social media. It's nice to let people know you're making videos. It's nice to post.
Twitch is the hardest one to grow on.
So people be like, oh, what's that from? And then they'll go find
That's
you.
me.
That's all part of it.
Whether that means the video
The
itself
Baldur's
is a
Gate
crazy promotion for something, but you need to think outside of the box to promote this because everyone is trying to upload. And most people are so lazy that they just throw something on this platform and hope the algorithm does it. You need to do it. You need to figure out the best way possible to get this video to blow up. You need to put it in the best possible position for it to do well, right? And you know, you can hope that these algorithms will take the you know, hold of it and they'll promote it, and they might, but they probably won't. So you need to figure out how you can best put it in position for possible. It's harder for now, for sure. Everyone's thinking the same thing, which is why somebody who has really creative thinking or creative content can really easily break out. And you know,
that's real.
There are creators that have proved that you can literally start from
we have watched so many people do the exact same type of stupid Mr. Beast copy content that if you're trying something new right now, if you're going against that, you have the opportunity to really succeed. Who can I get that is burnt out from that? And what do they want to see? What do those people want to see? They clearly want to see something Mr. Beast offered them, but now they're burnt out on Mr. Beast. So what was it about that they were interested in, and how do you capitalize on that?
And honestly, that's a big thing. That's a good pause, by the way. Like when I made Pointless Top 10, there was a ton of top 10 lists, right? But I was like, how can I put my own spin on it? How can I do it my way? And I thought, what if I just make top 10 lists about rocks? There's top 10 lists about villains and heroes and dungeons and stuff. And I was like, but what if we make a top 10 list about dungeon entrances? What if we make a top 10 list about NPCs in the middle of nowhere? Like shit that nobody would ever make a top 10 list about. And that's when it became pointless top 10, because I was like, we're going to make top 10 lists that are pointless, right? Compared to a lot of the other things. And I've done the same thing even with tier lists. Everyone makes these tier lists of like, what's the best spec? What's the best class? What's the best blah, blah. But I was just like, I'm going to make a tier list of like, how fast would you die in each WoW zone? I'm going to make a tier list of like, which city would I want to live in? You know what I mean? Like tier lists that you wouldn't normally see from other people that kind of fits my personality, because I'm just trying to have fun in the World of Warcraft, the literal world, right? And so I think when you take something that you enjoy, it's all about putting your own spin on it and being like, how can I add my personality to this? And I think that's what does the best, on top of, you know, a good thumbnail and title and all that stuff. But you have tools to test that, so it's not as difficult as the actual idea and creation of the idea.
If you're really thinking about it, you probably could find the answer.
The next lesson that I learned, again, this is all just from that one story. These are considerations and things that I thought of. The moment that I saw my opportunity to grow, aka the first video blowing up, straight gas on the pedal. I did not stop. Like the moment I had a video that did well.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I've had plenty of those moments, and because of all the different things that I do, have not capitalized on them. And it's always been a huge mistake of mine. I will make a video, it'll succeed, it'll get millions of views, and then I will not capitalize on it. Because I'm like, well, I wanted to make that video, but now I want to go do something else. And instead of going in on that, I decided I want to do something else, which is the wrong move. If you want to grow and succeed, that's how you do it. And when I made my Final Fantasy 14 for beginners, I was like, all right, great. People love that video. But the amount of time it took me to get to the next ones, each one does less and less every time. Simply because it took me forever. Because I do so much. I'm doing this right now instead of that. You know what I mean? And so that's part of it. You really have to make the choice to do certain things. And yeah,
I would say part of that does tie behind the channel thing I was talking about earlier, where if you make a channel, it is a channel focused specifically on that thing, right? And I think part of Jesse's issue, which he's talked to me about, though we've both agreed that he's bad at, is his main channel is still kind of like old YouTube, where it's very like all over the place. He'll be like, here's a Scary Game Squad. Here's a Final Fantasy video. Here's a, like, right? He's kind of like all over the place. But like when you go to my channel now, I used to do that too. I'd be like, here's Hearthstone, here's WoW, here's a variety game, right? And now YouTube very much rewards categorized things of like, this is a WoW channel, because it goes, okay, this channel's about WoW. We're going to recommend this content to people that like WoW. And then it'll recommend more of your videos, and you get this like watch time funnel. And so when you have like my VODs channel, people can go subscribe to that if they want to see it. And then, you know, like, hey, I know if I get a video from Crendor on this channel, that is from his VODs channel, right? And this is from his WoW channel. There's a lot of people where I'll subscribe to them and be like, oh, they make, I don't even know. I'll say they make videos about baseball, right? Okay, they make baseball videos. Then all of a sudden they're just like, hey guys, I decided I'm going to upload a cooking video to my channel here. And you're just like, what? You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be that specific thing, but it could be anything, right? Maybe they make Minecraft videos and they're like, today I thought I'd make a video about like, you know, Dark Souls. You know what I mean? And people are like, the hell's this? It's not why I'm here. And it goes for streaming. It goes for a lot of these things. And that's what's so important about the categorization of a lot of this is it also makes it easier to organize, but it tells your fans like, hey, this is my channel for this thing. If you like this thing, subscribe here and watch these videos. And if you don't, I have other channels maybe you can check out. And if you don't like any of that, thanks for stopping by, right? And so I think that's what a lot of it can boil down to in a modern YouTube sense.
One of my biggest mistakes. Absolutely.
It was when I went into overdrive. Like I sacrificed like every other free moment I had. I was in college at the time, right? So I still had basically a full-time responsibility to do something else. But I pretty much spent every single other moment on this.
Yeah.
And I didn't just like twiddle my thumbs thinking of, I don't know if I can make something as good as the first one. I just made something. It performed worse than my first video. And that's fine, because you just need to make stuff and you need to keep making stuff. Yep. And then finally, the last lesson I learned was I realized when a video format or a video concept.
Also, when he mentioned that, consistency really is the most important. Some people go like, oh, I just need my big break. I need all my stuff. And sure, that can help. right? Having a video blow up or getting a big raid or whatever it might be, it might help, but you need to be consistently creating stuff. Like, and that's what it is, because everyone else is going to be competing with you. So if you're doing this for a living, like we are, it's easy because it's like, well, this is my job. I look at analytics, I make thumbnails, I can stream, I can do this, and I already have an audience. But for somebody just starting out, where you're having to go work a normal job, or you have a family or kids or whatever, and you come home and you're just like, all right, my video blew up, now what do? I gotta do this. Like, it's rough, man. Like, I genuinely don't know how I would even do it, which is why I say YouTube's easier to grow on than Twitch, because Twitch is like, you have to sit there and stream a game for 5 hours and hope people stop by. But with YouTube, you at least create something that can get promoted and exist there forever. So that's why YouTube's just much better growth than Twitch. But yes.
Concept was not repeatable. I didn't want to prank minimum wage workers, like I said, so I just mixed it up. I realized by making one simple change to the video, it now becomes a much more repeatable video formula, because people want, at the time, there were a lot of fans that really wanted to be called by me doing a f***ing Sebastian impression. And look, I look back very fondly on that era, and it sounds kind of crazy, but, just doing that one change made the video so much more repeatable, not only for, like, ease of making the content, but also, like, ethically as well, which, obviously, W ethics, we like that.
Dude, this has nothing to do with this video. Oh my God. Y'all, I went to an event. I don't want to call it the event or the person. And this is literally this morning this happened. The keynote speaker is done talking, showing off the game we're about to check out. And then this guy goes, "That's a W." And the keynote speaker didn't hear him, and he goes, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" And everyone looks at this. I felt so bad. And he goes, "Oh, I was just saying that's a W." And the keynote speaker goes, "Okay," and walks off the stage. I realized in that moment, which I think we all knew this, there's a time and place for using, like, what is basically modern leet speak. And I was like, bro, I felt so bad. Like,
There's no time and place for that. Keep your that's an L, bro. Take it. Take your L's. I would not. What a pause right here. That's like a Jesse Poggers. Poggers, W's, based. Other word, I don't know. Just keep going.
eyes were on him like he had said something important. No, he was just trying to, like, get in some talking, I guess. It was so awkward.
So, that's the mindset you need, right? You need to recognize your flaws. You need, in your own process, and flaws in what you can and can't do. And you need to think about all this stuff, okay? You need to know your shortcomings. It requires you to be awfully honest and introspective to yourself when you're creating content, because you are putting so much of yourself out there. And if you can't genuinely analyze what you're doing, then you're not going to grow. And that's like true in a lot of.
I think that was like 90% of streamer university. the lack of self-awareness.
Things in life. So a lot of the stuff that we're talking about here is also extremely applicable in your everyday life. So even if it doesn't work out for you, don't worry about it. Hopefully you've learned a couple of amazing things. So don't worry too much.
That actually made me realize, thinking back, one of the WoW machinimas I used to make early on was the how to win it whatever, right? I did how to win it PvP, how to win it Pugs and Gear Score. And a lot of those are very common now, but I mean, the format's common, but it was kind of like the types of people you see, essentially. So it'd be like the Go Guy, right? That's how the Go Guy was born, because I was like, oh, you always see a guy in the dungeon being like, go, 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 hurry up, go, right? And people are just like, Slah! Right? And you just turn it into like a funny little dramatic thing, but people see that and they go, I know a guy like that, right? And it has that relatability of, the comedic effect of relatability, but dramatized, and characterized. But that made me think of that. So anyway, carry on.
Much about that. Okay.
Recognize your flaws. Can you keep people engaged? Can you tell a good story? Can you teach well? I need you to know that for most people, the answer is no. Like, just
Absolutely.
having lived a life, most people have not honed any of those skills. They cannot teach well. They cannot tell a good story. They cannot keep people engaged. And they absolutely do not recognize their flaws. It takes growth and effort to get any of those correct and to do them competently. And that's really funny to me. It's like, you need this. Like, okay. You better start working on it.
Can I keep my friends'
I
attention?
mean, yeah, there's a lot of times I'll see those things where people post, they're like, nobody's watching my videos, but I'm doing everything correct. And you click on it and it's like bad microphone, a weird intro. They just spend like 2 minutes talking about nothing. They don't get to the point. Nothing's happening. And you're just like, do you not see what you've done? Like, do you not realize how bad this is? Like, and sometimes people are just oblivious to it, you know, and it's obviously easier for somebody like me who's done this for nearly 20 years to pick all the little things out. The same way how, you know, if you're trying to be a writer, usually authors and like editors and stuff can pick out who's a good writer and who's a bad writer right away, right? Just from like sentence structure, grammar, the way they use their prose, like word choice, like all these different things, pacing versus like somebody who's new, and you can always kind of tell. But that's the thing, is like, especially in modern days, you need a lot of these things to make it big on YouTube or Twitch, wherever you're gonna be. Luckily for me, when I got started, you didn't need any of this. Thank God. So that's good. That's good.
Attention when telling a story or teaching them about something. If I can't, why would strangers on the internet want to listen to me? I know it sounds dumb, but that very same ability to be able to recount a story in a funny way to your friends is the exact same skill that you will need when you're a content creator. Not necessarily telling stories, but the ability to structure a story, kind of give information in a way that is engaging and keep people kind of...
It's so hard it's hard to do this. This is not necessarily a natural talent. You have to learn this. It's the mindset you need.
You know, engage with the...
I mean, honestly, thinking back on it, when I first started making my YouTube videos, I was kind of like, I could probably do this. But like going back and watching them, like it's one of those things where like it clearly was like rough start. Now my microphone was bad. I was like, you know, it's like anybody, your first things are going to be rough. But luckily back then, you didn't have a lot of competition. You didn't have as much, you know, just people in general being online on their phones, all this stuff. So it was just very targeted crowds of like mainly nerdy people on their computer and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Right. So it was just, you didn't have to be as like engaging or like socially cool or like all this stuff. I'm still not socially cool, but you know what I mean? Like you learn from over the years how to like just talk better. I still can't talk, but I talk better than I used to, right? And you know, it's like anything. You grow and you make your skills just improve over time. And I always compare this to like baseball, to bring up baseball again, but when people get into professional baseball, they go from like high school or like, you know, grade school, high school, college, then they start going to like, there's like some like weird in between, but from like college and majors, like kind of like those like independent offshoot baseball leagues. But then there's single A, there's double A, there's triple A, and then you get to the major league. So there's like so many different tiers you have to work your way up to. And there's certain guys where they'll literally go from like high school and like fly up the ranks and boom, they're in the majors. They're like all stars. They're doing great. That's your, you know, all your popular YouTubers that everybody knows, right? Or Twitch streamers. But then there's people, they go like, you know, single A, double A, triple A, and then they almost get to the majors. Maybe they get there for like a week and then they fall off and then they're gone. You know, they get their like big break and then they're gone. Or, you know, maybe they're in the majors for a couple years and then they fall apart, right? So they just stop playing the game. They get bored of it, tired. And then there's, you know, people like us that are like 17-year veterans on the end of the bench being like, you know, back in 2014, I used to be an all-star, right? And so it's you do have your tiers of like athletes, but baseball, I think, does it the best because there's so many different tiers that you have to make it through before you make it to that like professional tier, which is why I always use baseball as the example. But and it's also extremely difficult to play professional baseball and stay there for over a decade or 2 decades or whatever it might be. So yeah.
Entirety of the story. And like, if your friends don't want to listen to you, why would random people on the internet want to? You know? So like these kind of storytelling skills and ability to converse and be...
I just realized that like everything before this wasn't a huge hurdle. Like, it's just do it, right? This is a huge hurdle. A lot of people in this space, the space of internet culture, cannot do this. And I'm still, the whole recognize your flaw thing is a massive hurdle for people. Most people never recognize their flaws.
Personable are really, really important.
I mean, there's some
And
big
even if
streamers and YouTubers that still
learn
haven't
these skills
recognized
by
their
doing
flaws.
YouTube, which is fine. They will help you in the real life, even if you don't end up being a successful YouTuber, which is great as well. That's really helpful. And because truthfully, that's what content creators do. It doesn't matter what genre, what content you do, you are there to engage people with a story. You know, a wacky weekend is telling a story, and an educational, like Tom Scott video, is telling you a story, and a Ludwig video is telling you a story. The characters and the settings are always different, but they're all presenting a story to you. And that is a valuable skill in life, not just content creation. So really, really think about that.
All right. That bit right there at the end, so really think about that, and then the fade, that's another editing thing. The idea of obviously this was a longer segment, and then they clipped it, but what they chose to clip had a start and an end. And I think that, goes back to what he was saying. Truthfully, great video. It's accurate, but also I think it shows the limitations of what this format is. And it's like, yeah, do this, do this, do this, but in order to do it, you need to have this whole other skill that actually takes work outside of just making videos, which is tough. That's why a lot of people don't do it. Anyway, I hope the kids got something out of that. I'm always about seeing new people come into this space and bring something new. And on this very show, we've seen some amazing things. And yeah, I hope to see some more. Maybe from you right now, in the future. Not too old for it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what he said. It's most people aren't going to make it. And, if you're going to do this type of thing, just do it as a hobby. I think that's what it boils down to. I mean, I did WoW videos for 2 years as a hobby. I didn't make any money, and then it just grew into what it did. So I think the best way to go about it is to just view it as a hobby. Do it because you enjoy it, because it's fun. Don't think like, I'm going to get rich doing this or quit my job or all that stuff, right? Because odds are it probably won't happen unless you are, apparently in the like 0.01%. But, and people like us, like me and Jesse, like I said, we did this nearly 20 years ago when everyone was like, what's a YouTube? Is that the cat video website? Like, why would you do that? Back when nobody wanted to do this or they didn't even know what it was. So it's one of those things where nowadays it is vastly more difficult than what it used to be. So, but hey, you know what? Don't stop yourself from trying, right? I mean, I'm trying to write a book. I'm trying to do some stuff, right? And it's all about just doing stuff that you enjoy and that you want to have fun with. So if you want to make videos, you want to stream, you want to do whatever, just give it a shot. And it might not work out, but you can say, hey, you know what? I tried. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Here's some more videos. You go watch them or not. I don't know. Okay? Okay. See ya.